If you can't track it, you can't improve it. There's so many business owners I talk to on a daily and weekly basis. They have no idea what their true KPIs are. How much does it cost for them to get a lead, whether they're doing outbound or paid ads? How much does it cost for them to book a call? How much does it cost for them for that appointment, that sales appointment, to actually show up? How much does it cost for them to actually get a client, what their client acquisition cost is? How much does it cost for them to fulfill for that particular client? Most business owners have no idea. They just see some course or some training and they start ramming paid ads or they start ramming outbound campaigns just to land a client, and they're not really tracking anything. I'm gonna break down what true KPIs you need to be tracking in order to predictably scale, not random throwing shit against the wall and seeing what sticks. All right, subscribe, like, share, all that good noise. Let's dive in. One, I'm just gonna be breaking down some KPIs you need to be tracking as a sales agency, as a business owner. And even if you're a sales rep and you know some of these numbers, you'll be ahead of most, okay? So leads, assuming you're getting leads already, you're running paid ads, or even outbound, you're getting leads. And I'll go through outbound KPIs as well. But say you're getting leads, 10 to 20% should be converting into a booked appointment. These are minimum KPIs for setters, right? Anything below that, if they're not converting at 10, 20%, your setting is the bottleneck. After the booked appointment, the appointments that show up need to be a minimum of 65%. Okay, if your no-show rate is higher than this, you have an issue. Start looking for what that issue is, whether it's the leads, it's the quality of leads, it's the setting part, whatever it might be. Once the appointment is showed, the number of people your closers are making an offer to needs to be around 80%. Because if this number isn't 80%, that means the people that are being booked are not qualified. That means the setters are not doing the job. So it's all like a domino effect, right? If the setters are qualifying the right way as they're supposed to for your offer or your client's offer, if you're running a sales agency, the closer should be making an offer to about 80% of the people that show up on the calls, okay? And then close rate needs to be 30% minimum, right? Anything below this, you need to have a conversation with the closer or call reviews or whatever you want to call it. 30% of the 80% that are being made an offer to, not all the calls, okay? Those numbers are different, skewed, different for each market, but once those are closed, your cash collected needs to be 50 to 60% or higher. Anything below this, your closer is giving the house away. He's starting payment plans way too early and not even trying to collect as much cash as he or she possibly can. So this, if you're running paid ads, leads 10 to 20% into booking an appointment, 65% need to show up, 80% need to be made an offer, 30% need to be closed, 50 to 60% cash needs to be collected up front on the price of your offer. All right. Now, here's some of the most important things to track to make your marketing is dialed in. Number of leads, cost per lead, number of book calls from leads, cost per book call, quality of leads and calls, and then return on ad spend. I'm going to go into more details here, but let me also break down the outbound numbers. Number one, if you don't have a setter doing at least 100 outbounds a day, a minimum, you need to get a new setter. So new outreach, 100 day a minimum, 40 to 60 people that there's also a compounding effect. So let's say if you start Monday, 100 outreaches, by day 7, you should have 700 outreaches. So every single day you should be doing 40 to 60 follow-ups, right? And now out of which you should have 12 to 25 actual conversations, right? Because not everyone's going to respond. And obviously having a solid outreach approach, a DM that people actually want to respond to out of curiosity, that's a different conversation. This video is just for KPIs. All right, 12 to 25 conversations, out of which 5 to 10 people might be interested in booking a call, meaning you send them your calendar link, your booking link or whatever, and then you should have relatively 3 to 7 meetings booked a day. Are they going to be all highly qualified? If your setter's doing their job, they should be. And this, ideally, you don't want to book straight to sales call. Unless you're starting out, you book them straight to your sales call. If not, introduce the triage process so you have friction. You're not booking random outreaches onto salespeople calendar. So these are outreach KPIs. These are paid ad KPIs. Now, let's talk about really quick some of the ad spend metrics. And we're going to go up here. Ad spend, basically, you need to know what your ad spend is. How much are you spending a day, a week, a month on ads? What is your front end cash ROAS, right? And what is your revenue ROAS? For example, let's say your you spend 10K on ads this month in October, last month or whenever. You spend 10K a month on ads. The revenue your closers generated was, let's say, 40K. That will be a revenue ROAS, will be 4x, right? But let's say the cash collected was 30K. So your front end cash ROAS is 3x. It's not 4x. There's a big difference there because that 10,000 that's still in receivables, you are 100% going to have people that either late on payments, don't make payments, whatever, right? So always focus on cash ROAS more than revenue ROAS. Revenue ROAS is important just to know your marketing is working, but your closers need to always focus on front end cash ROAS. And this is not inclusive of any back end offers or upsells that you might be doing to other deals that have been in the system since the past. So cost per book call, again, ballpark numbers here, just breaking this down and what you need to be looking at and the KPIs you need to be setting for yourself. If you're a sales agency or you're a current sales rep on an offer, go through this, watch this, and help your business owners show them that you have more skills than just closing, and you'll make a lot more fucking money. So 100 leads, let's say $10 is your cost per lead. Again, 10 to 20 is industry average. Anything over 20, you should work on tweaking your lead flow. But again, I'm just using simple numbers. I don't want to get into too much marketing numbers here. $10 cost per lead. Let's say you do $100,000 in ad spend. Got 100 leads, $10 a lead. 20% lead to book. If you remember this, right? 10 to 20% have to book. I'm going to use a higher end, and I'll show you what happens when we use a lower end as well. 20% lead to book, ideally higher. If there's more friction, more time investment equals better quality leads. 50, that puts you at $50 cost per book call, meaning you have 20 calls booked. Again, 65 to 70% show rate, ideally. If you remember here, this is 65 is worst case scenario. So we're going to assume 70% are showing, which is 14 calls. So a live call that shows up is costing you $71 with this scenario. And at a 25% closing rate, again, 30% should be normal. Let's say 3 close. That's $333 cost per acquisition, not inclusive of the sales reps' commissions. Now, let's go worst case scenario. Even if you double all these numbers, right? You half the lead, you double the cost per book call. You can't really half the show rate because that's crazy. And you can leave this 25% closing rate. Even if you double this or double this, like still $633 for you to get a client, not inclusive of, I'm going to go through the entire cost of acquisition, but this is $633 for you to get a deal that's worth 5, 10, 15K. That's crazy. It's a money printer. I mean, paid ads is just, as long as you're hitting the numbers, it's a money printer. Then you have client acquisition costs. Again, simple numbers. Let's say $1,500 spent, average $6 per lead opt-in, right? Opt-ins should be between 5 to 10. So you have 250 opt-ins a day, 30% reply, right? 75 conversations. This is assuming you have speed to lead dialed in. Your setter is calling every single lead. They come in within 5 minutes. Again, our goal is 20% book a call, right? 10 to 20. 10 is a worst case scenario. 20 is ideal, right? 15 calls per day. Show up rate 75%. This is a good show up rate. And 11 calls. Close rate is 25%. You have 2 to 3 deals. Again, ideally, if we put these deals at 10, 15, 20K, which is where, as a sales agency, where your offer should be. Cash collected 20 to 45K, almost guaranteed, versus the direct funnel where you only have hope to work with, which is just direct response, competition, and not as qualified, and your no-show rate is going to be much higher. So this one requires a little bit more investment because we're adding the setters to call rather than just letting rather than letting prospects book a call by themselves just off of direct response ads. So even if you spend 1.5K on ads and then let's say $750 on setting, $1,500 on the closer, your entire cost per acquisition to get a new client is $3,700, which is your net total client acquisition to make 10 to 15K, right? Even if you make 10K, you're still at 63% profit, right? not counting fulfillment. Let's say you were to delegate that fulfillment too, you're still at between 50 to 60% profit. So meaning anytime you put 3,700 into your business, you get 10K out or you get 15K out. Why would anyone not do that? Again, these are just some numbers that in a perfect world, these would be fantastic. But, as businesses, it's always up and down. What you need to know is all these KPIs need to be as close to each other as possible, as close to these standards as possible. And you'll be fine whether you're running a sales agency or you're running acquisition things for your clients. So hopefully you guys got some sauce out of this one, free KPI course. And I'll see you on the next one. Peace.